Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video. This is a companion page to the first layout I made, or that you saw with this collection, about the Moon River Brewery where we were in the basement. I think the page was called Cellar Hunt. So this is the second story of the Moon River Brewery. I think in that video I called it the Moon Street Brewery. I don't know why. It's the Moon River Brewery. Anyways, these photos have a lot of distressing in them. It's a really old building with a lot of history, and I really felt like a lot of the papers in this P13 New Moon and Soulmate collection. Actually, I think the gray paper I'm using is from when we first met. I think is the name of that one. I always forget the name of the third collection. Hang on. Yeah, when we first met. So I thought those two papers in particular really brought out a lot of the texture that's in my photos. So I thought they were a perfect match. I really wanted to use both of those as my background paper. So I decided to use this really nice wood grain plank as a large peekaboo, I guess, on the side. I wanted this distressed torn edge detail that I had on the first page, since these are companion pages, and I really wanted to bring in a wood grain on this page as well. You can see in the photos there's a lot of like wood paneling from behind the drywall, and so you can see all the wood in there, but you can also see like the old paint that's kind of peeled and distressed really mimics the paper from when we first met. So I'm trying to create a replica of the photos as my background, so you can see that, and I really like having that detail on the side of the page. And then I just decided I wanted to create an embellishment cluster to go up in that upper right hand corner where there's a larger blank area for the wood grain. So I'm just layering up a couple banners, and I'm trying to create a little cluster there with some more thread bundles. I'm going to get another one of those fussy cut feathers on here, and I'm really going to try and pull in some more of the star embellishments that Christina threw in with this collection. I love the wood grain stars that she included, and I only have 3 left, so I'm going to try and get those on this page, especially because the other wood grain stars are on the companion page. So I really like pulling in similar embellishment when there's 2 pages that are supposed to go together. So you can see me playing with the foil stickers. I'm also going to try and get a few of the rose gold coppery colored stars on here. So far I've only used the gold stars from that sticker sheet, but I really want to make sure I get the silver and rose gold used up too. And because I am using the brown beetle and the wood grain, I thought the rose gold that has more of that coppery tone would go really well. And I really like that banner that has the brown beetle on it because it pulls in the brown of the wood grain. I really wanted to not shy away from the beetles in this collection because when I first saw this collection I didn't think I would really use them, but I'm really trying to lean into it and get them on a page. Like I said, the brown one just goes so well with that wood grain color that it's on top of. And then there's another beetle that is blue and green, and it's like exactly the same colors as the bicycle in this one photo. So I'm also going to try and get that beetle banner on here too, just because it brought the colors of that bicycle in so well I couldn't not use it. Here I am with my stash wood grain that I pulled in. I've been doing this a lot to avoid using this really nice wood plank from the Soulmate collection. Whenever I just want a wood grain to mat a photo, just so there's a little bit of that color around the photo, I've been pulling in my wood grain from my stash so I can save this gorgeous wood grain from this collection for sections that it's really going to be shown off, like this big side strip. So that's a way around trying to stretch the stash a little bit. Because there's not a whole lot of that wood grain that's going to be showing, so I really did not want to waste the plank wood grain for a little photo mat. Again, I'm going to distress the edges. I'm really trying to distress a lot of the papers. I feel like I've mentioned this, I think, on every single page of this collection so far, but distressed papers with P13 just goes so well. And I think it just adds a lot of cool texture, and just distressing these papers anyways, because the photo content is very like old and distressed itself, just lends itself to the theme, I guess. So I'm gonna distress those really quick, and I'm gonna glue those 2 photos in a staggered position, similar to the companion page, how those photos were staggered. And then I'll do some embellishment as well. There's that other beetle, and you can see that beetle and the bicycle in that photo are so perfect. I really thought about using this blue and green beetle in the upper right hand corner on the wood grain, but in the end I think the brown beetle looks best over the brown paper, and this blue and green beetle looks best next to the blue and green bicycle. So I really really like how those look together. I'm just cutting some more thread here to do another thread bundle. I've been really trying to do that a lot in my clusters. I'm going to try and get another one of those fussy cut feathers on this banner as well. I'm pretty much just trying to create mirror images of these two banners so that they're mirrored across the page and balanced. I really like how those are looking, and again, I'm going to try and get a wood grain star and a rose gold foiled star in this cluster as well. Right now I have the stars clustered together on the feather, but I will end up moving the stars around a little bit once I start adding things. Right now I really don't know what I'm going to do as far as embellishment. I just know I wanted these two clusters with these banners in these two areas. But I still need a title. I definitely want to journal on this page because I didn't do journaling on the last page, so I kind of want to do whatever I need to say about this location here. There is one more photo from this day at this location that I can add any more journaling if I feel like it. The journaling on this page is mostly about this second story, so I think on the third page, which I don't know if I'll end up posting before or after this one, but that will have the journaling from the basement. But I'm gutting, of course, because there's a huge chunk that's going to be covered by these stacked photos, so I'm definitely trying to save anything that I can of this collection to try and stretch it as far as possible. So I'm just going to patch that hole with a scrap piece of black paper. I do want to do a little bit of mixed media. The first page I did for this day, I adored how the mixed media turned out with the navy paint and the Nouveau embellishment mousse on top of it. I didn't want to do the painting again, but I did want to get some more of that gold paste on here. I really wanted to use the plus sign stencil again because I really enjoyed how that looked, but I think that's pretty much the only stencil I've used so far with this collection, and I wanted to pull in a different stencil just to get something else used. So I pulled in this little dot stencil. I think it would have looked better if I went with the plus signs again, but I'm really trying to pull into my stash and get things used up. So while I'm using embellishment moves, I wanted to get more than just one stencil used, so I decided to do the dots. And while that's drying, I'm trying to figure out what else I'm going to add to my layers. I have these little die cut pieces that Ronnie sent me, so I thought those would look really nice coming out from these banners just as another detail. So I'm going to layer that up behind both banners as well. So that'll look really cool. There we go, and I think they're going to hang off the edge a little bit, so I'll just trim them up once I glue them down, but I wanted you to be able to see that die cut on the bottom and the side of the banners, so that's why I layered it the way I did. And then this is the other glassine bag that came in the collection. So Christina always sends us our ephemera in little glassine baggies, and they always coordinate with the collection, which I really appreciate. And for this collection, she sent glassine bags that are just the normal glassine, which I think is perfect for these collections. To add as layers. So I got the big baggie used up on the companion page for this, so I decided I'd use this small baggie on this page as a layer, and that kind of dragged the banner next to the bicycle up towards the top of the top photo, and then I think I'm going to do my title at the top so that's all connected. That's what I'm thinking anyways. But once I got these paper layers laid down, a lot of my mixed media was covered. There wasn't enough of the gold showing, so I did go back and add some water to some of this texture paste to do some splattering as well, just to throw some more gold on this page, and I think that helps bring it out a little more because a lot of the gold stenciling ended up being hidden. So that kind of helps bring it out a little more. And I was getting impatient for it to dry, so you saw me just blotting some of the wet parts down. I'm going to go ahead and get this glued down. I'm pretty happy with the mixed media. It's not as good as the mixed media on the companion page, but honestly, I don't think I can top that one because I was really, really surprised and pleased with myself how that one turned out. So I wasn't even going to attempt to do that again. But I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces glued down. I'm happy where they are, and now that the mixed media is dry, I can go ahead and move forward. So there I'm trimming up the pieces of that die cut that was hanging off. And now I want to build a little cluster at the top here. I really wanted to get this moth die cut used because the background of that moth looks like identical to the top part of the wall in the bicycle photo, and I thought it went so well and carried that distressing and that color into another area so perfectly I couldn't not use it. So I'm trying to use that to create another little embellishment cluster at the top of the page. So that moves around a lot, but for right now I'm going to have it sit there. I also have these floral pieces I fussy cut from the business card that was included in this kit. So I was trying to get those used up as well, but in the end I decided to save the florals for a future layout because I felt like that was almost pulling it into too many areas. I've already got beetles and moths and feathers, so I figured I'd stick more with that and stars instead of adding in a floral as well. But now I'm trying to figure out my title. I really wanted to do a mixed title. I don't think I've done one so far with this collection. This is the 5th page I've made so far. I know they're all out of order this month. When I do my layout share at the end of the month, I'll show them in order of how I created them. And when they go in the How to Kill a Kit with Style playlist, they'll be in the order I created them as well. But I know they're all jumbled going up during this month. But anyways, I forgot where I was going with that. At this point, I had not done a mixed title again. I don't know if I do after this, but I really wanted to get both of those letters used up. So I have these puffy gold ones and these puffy white ones, and I decided I would call it Frozen in Time and use Frozen in with the gold and then do Time in the white. I thought that would be a really cool idea, and I was dying to use these stickers together, so I think they look really cool. On the first page, when I did my process video, I kind of explained how I thought the second story was so cool because it looked like it was frozen in time. Just looks like it hasn't been touched in a really, really long time, and I wanted to carry that onto this page. Once I had said that, I was like, oh, that's kind of a good title for whenever I do this page. So I revisited that and decided, yeah, that'd be a good title. But yeah, this is the second story of the Moon River Brewery, which also is reported to have had paranormal activity. It served as a yellow fever epidemic hospital back in the day. It's also where a man named James Stark was shot, I guess. So they have different reportings of children or Mr. Stark, I guess. We didn't see anything again, but I thought it was a cool thing to note just because we were here and the staff was really excited to show us and tell us all the stories and stuff like that. So I wanted to note that so I wouldn't forget, because that was a cool part of the experience, just hearing about all the history. But yeah, here I am trying to just beef out my embellishments a little bit. I am going to change the title section. I don't like how the time is really fading away, and I'm really not pleased with how that cluster at the top of the photos is looking. It just doesn't look cohesive with the rest of the page. So I'm still trying to add stuff to make it feel like it goes. I'm throwing some more stars in there. And then you'll see me add like a navy sticker up there to try and pull some blue in, just to make it go with the rest of it. But I ended up changing that section at the top. But I did go in and cut a couple word stickers from one of the sticker sheets to throw into both clusters. And now I'm really just trying to beef it out a little bit. I'm taking a couple of these layers of the labels to create extra little detail up from the lower cluster. So you can see I'm branching those little labels up the side of the photo just to create a lot of little corners and layers. I think that's really cool. I wanted some wood grain over there mostly because I have this big wood grain on the right side of the page and not a whole lot of wood grain on the left other than the little mat around the photo, so that little wood grain label helps with that. And then here I'm pulling in that navy word sticker to try and pull some blue to that top cluster to try and make it go more with the rest of the page. But I'm still not really happy with it. I did realize I need to get some journaling on here, and I thought it would be really nice to do it on one of these navy banners, so I'm going to do that really quick. And once I start creating a little cluster around that journaling on the lower right side of the page, it kind of inspires me to rework the title area because I know I'm not happy with it, so I just decided to work on something else for now. So I'm going to use my little washi trick to try and keep my lines straight. I really didn't want to draw in lines, so I'm just using some washi as a guide so I don't go crooked. But my journaling just says a staff member took us upstairs to look around what used to be the hospital during the yellow fever epidemic. Here is where lots of child paranormal activity experienced and where James Stark was shot. So just a really quick summary of pretty much what I said. this was a really cool place where we came to eat, and because it was on Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, they're really excited to share that part of the building. So it was cool that we got to see that side of it as well. So I just wanted to put a little bit of the details from what they told us so we didn't forget it as we look back on these pages. But yeah, so I think I'm almost done with that. And then I know I want to pull in a thread bundle down there. You see where I put the stars up by the title? I end up moving those stars down to the journaling area. I felt like putting them down there created more of a visual triangle than having them up there by the title. So yeah, I pretty much ignore the title now and I work on this cluster. And then once I kind of get this cluster down, it makes me realize what's wrong with the title, so I'll get there. But I like how this big blue banner looks coming off of the photos. I really needed something blue, I felt, down there because I have these two little blue banners in each of these clusters, and I just felt like I needed one more area of a blue banner to really help ground the page, I guess. It just wasn't balanced to me yet. Here I'm going in with that thread bundle. I don't do thread bundles a lot, but I'm doing them a lot this month, and I really enjoy how easy it is and just the texture that it adds. Like, it looks like you put a lot of work into getting it placed that way, but all you do is crumple up some thread and glue it down and it's done. And now you can see me pulling everything off of the title section. Like I said, I'm not happy with how that time kind of blends in. I thought it would look better if I moved the title all into one row, but again, I still have the issue with the time blending in with the background. And as I'm looking at it, I really am missing the navy up there. So I decided to go back and pull in my stash constellation from One Canoe 2, because I'm still hoarding and trying not to cut in my last constellation paper from this collection. So I just wanted a little bit of blue up there, and I felt like if I could get a little bit of strip of this blue so I at least had the color, it would be enough to finish off the title. And having this white over the navy obviously is going to look a lot better. So I just cut a strip of this constellation paper. I'm going to distress it so it's on theme with the rest of the page and tuck that behind the glassine bag and the title. I think that helps you really see the glassine bag, but it helps so much with the title, and I think the gold looks a lot better on the navy as well, so I'm trying to move all of that. Thankfully the gold was on the glassine bag, so I didn't have to take all those letters off, which was convenient, but you can see right away, you can see the title so much better with that navy, so I'm a lot happier with that. And I wasn't sure if I was going to add another cluster up there now that I had my journaling cluster, but I was still determined to get that moth on there. It went too well with my photo to not get it on there. You can see there I thought about putting it next to the photo so you could really see, but in the end I thought it would be better if I pulled that texture from the photo into another area, so I ended up putting it back up there by the title. But now that the title is in one row and is on this navy, I feel like it's looking a lot better. I also had this leftover piece of white paper that I used a border punch on, so I figured I could get that scallopy detail on there as well. That blended in with the background a little bit too, so I will end up pulling in a scrap of wood grain to tuck behind the white border so you can see it. But I have one charm left. I got 3 charms in this kit that Christina sent me. I got 2 of them on the companion page for this one, so I really wanted to get the 3rd charm on this page, so that was also coordinating between both of them. It also brought in some more gold and more blue, so I thought it went really well. And there is also some green foliage in the little charm, which I thought helped bring in the green of the beetle and the bicycle. So I'm just going to stitch that down to the top of the page. Because I took the stars away from that cluster to move them down to the journaling cluster, I wanted something kind of special up there by the moth, but I didn't want to pull in the same things I had in the other clusters, because then I felt like I'd have 4 similar clusters, and I really wanted to stick with 3 navy banner clusters and then just decorating the title a little bit. So this is the finished page. It's not my favorite compared to the last one I did, but I think they're really sweet companion pages. They look really good together, and it was another fun experience documented. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one with more P13. So thanks guys so much for watching. Bye.